I'm going to switch gears slightly here. One of the five major pillars to EFI strategy that we heard from Guy this morning was imaging of things. There's more and more with digital printing. There are more and more different substrates and materials that we are printing, which is also driven by the consumer's desire for customization and everything. I don't want to use the same tiles that everybody has in the building. I don't want to use the same fabric. I don't want to use whatever. There are so many different applications that are coming. DJ, you've been in the wide format, digital ink, auto wrap type of business and all that. So what are some of the interesting things that you're seeing in that market? And obviously, we heard earlier from some of you that it's important to innovate on the revenue side, not just on the cost side. So some of the future drivers of revenue, we would think, are these kinds of opportunities. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I've been in the signage side of the business. So before I answer your question, actually, I'd like to comment a little bit on what Gilad had to say about China. Because we have been investing in high-end technology digitally right from 1999. And so I've gone to China a lot. We have studied the markets there. And I could see, whatever we are going through here now is what China went through 10 years ago. So, that hunger for quality that you're seeing, we can see it. I can see it happening now again here. But we had to go through that low-end phase, which China also did. But you're right, Gilad. The surprising thing was that I was shocked because 10 years ago, China was cheap, quality. Nobody cares. They just wanted a low price, and they just commoditized everything. And when I went there, over the years, and particularly last year, you can see the transformation where it's just gone the Western way. Again, doing business in China, there was a comment in one of these, I think it was The Economist. They said, if you want to compare doing business in India and in China, it's like building a house. In China, you're building a new house. So you got an open land, so you can just put it up, get it going. In India, if you're trying to do anything, it's like renovating a house. You're living in that house. That's the price of democracy. Where you have to, those changes that have to happen along with whatever you're doing. So it just cannot happen overnight. That's the price we have to pay, but I think all of us will agree that we would rather have this than that. In terms of a form of government, we all have the need, we all hunger for that speed, saying things are happening too slow here. But hopefully the new government is more, you could say they at least got the majority and the strength to do what they have to do. So we are all hoping for the things to improve. Coming back to like signage, definitely if we had to stay where we were doing without any innovation, we'd have probably wound up our business long ago. I talked about ROI in that initial thing. And that ROI, when I say ROI, I meant we need to innovate, we need to come up with new stuff, we need to come up with excitement all the time, because that's the one where a person is willing to pay more. The moment it gets commoditized, you have to have, for any new product that you come out, like for us, in terms of an application, we're always thinking of new applications, whether it was printing on rigid substrates, doing fleet marking for vehicles, customized wraps for vehicles. We're doing it on laptops, on mobile phones. But the moment you have anything new, you have to have at least 5 more in the pipeline, because whatever you have new is going to become a commodity very soon, and that's when you should get out of it. If you want to be in a leadership position, you want to stay on top of it, you have to actually create these new applications, the new requirements. And it's a very exciting field. I wish I mean, when I started the business more than close to 30 years ago, I wish I was 30 years younger today because the kind of opportunities that you see is just mind-boggling. I'm just too old for it, you know. So I envy the next generation just because you have the sky is not even the limit, and I feel that the role that EFI and companies like EFI have to play is to marry that. The need or bring in the, just kind of stitch together the entrepreneurial spirit of a businessman with the aspirations of that final customer and put together something where you have to constantly keep, I mean, this is a generation which wants something new all the time. However great you have something, it's boring within 3 months. This is the new generation. We all lived with the same thing. We bought cars and we had a car for 5 years and things like that. Today, nobody wants it. You even want to just change the color. We do it for, I mean, one of our things we do in vehicle graphics is no design. We just say that you bought a white car, you're tired of it, you want to turn it purple, we'll turn it purple for you. You know, or you got a blue car, we'll turn it red. And you'll be surprised. You know, it's unbelievable that people are willing to pay. Now, that's the thing where, that's when they're not comparing you to, they're not saying, what's your square foot price for the thing. Then you're delivering value. So, yes, the need for innovation, absolutely critical. And that goes for all of us and all our various businesses. If we are not coming up with something new, if we're not doing our value engineering, if we are not making a Ferrari go faster, it's a very unforgiving time. We will be out of business. So, thank you.
Thanks, DJ. I'm sure we all would like to grow younger. But, clearly one thing you said is innovation is kind of like a treadmill. Once you jump on it, you got to keep running. The moment you stop, you're going to get thrown off. And so it's exciting to kind of innovate, but the cycle from the innovator to the followers is sort of shrinking every day. And that lead doesn't last too long. So you got to just keep running all the time. Prabhuda is itching to jump in on this topic, so please.
Okay, I'd just like to add a couple of points. Now this time I'm putting my hat of a plastic technologist. So what I see around is that plastic films are getting thinner, stronger and stiffer. For example, when I started my career, it was a 12 micron polyester, it has gone to 10, now we are at 8. Now for capacitors we produce 6 and the 4 is underway. So you can see that all this has happened in the last 5 years or so. Similarly, the production speeds are increasing. Production speeds, and now we have dies which has much more accurately controlled, especially on extrusion and calendared films and all that, flat films. Even blown films are becoming flatter and flatter. So that perhaps there will be a time would come when we had a blown film which can take place of a cast film. That's one. Second thing is, again, I am putting on a hat of an ink maker, where I had run a pilot plant of ink. A lot of things are now happening in ink, in resins, in solvents, and in understanding of coatings. So there will be a lot of things which will make all this happen. A lot of things have started happening abroad. Perhaps they will be a part of the innovation, exciting innovation, as he was talking about, which he is in the pipeline and which is going to happen. So all this is true. But the only thing is which we will be also, as we use less and less of material, we will also go into an age of, when we talk about plastics, first thing which is reduce. So recycling is one, and we will be, of course, be reducing the source. So these are some of the things which are in pipeline. That's all I wanted to say.
So just imaging of things, because that was something Guy was saying, and strangely enough, I agree with him. So if you just look around here on this platform, this cloth can be printed, the wood can be printed, the glass can be printed, this package box is printed, metal box is printed, this plastic is printed either with a label or direct to plastic. The floor, the carpet can be printed. So if you look at all the materials that are around us, and I'm not even talking about material deposition, where people are doing, LCDs or photovoltaic cells or batteries or smart labels, just imaging. Everything that is around us is a potential application that will benefit the customer and obviously require some technology breakthrough. The technology breakthrough is in multiple dimensions. There is the material, the ink that we are going to put, and there are many directions where ink is going, what type of pigment and or dyes, and what carrier we are using, and how we dry or cure or whatever. And then there are the equipment. You know, if you want to do packaging, you need to run 6,000, 8,000 sheets per hour. Okay, inkjet has some difference in doing it today, but not too much tomorrow. So if you look, all the people are now even printing on curved surfaces. You know, you can do pottery in our printing. So frankly, the imagination, our imagination and our customer imagination is the only limit, except some technology barriers that we are all working on.
Thank you, Gilad. Very inspiring. You know, material evolving rapidly, more flexible, you know, more stronger, as well as the application and the desires of the market. Exciting time to put on your thinking caps and think about all kinds of new applications on the revenue side, specifically in this. I'm going to move to Fahim real quickly here. You know, interestingly, you have gotten a bunch of 500, you said, I thought, small and mid-sized companies to come together and collaborate. You know, through your body, the Master Printers Association, you've gotten a number of companies to come together and share, use a common platform, share ideas, collaborate in the common interest of the industry, which is very interesting because, you know, if you look at it, historically, in recent times, the industry has been a fiercely competitive industry. You know, pricing, the amount of jobs, etc. So how did you pull this off, and what are some of the big aha moments that have come out of it as we embark on collaborating 360 degrees with the industries? What can we learn from your experience?
Before that, hello? Hello? Before that, I just wanted to make a comment on the export thing, which we were discussing about earlier. And that was that if you've ever been to Gurgaon, there was a lot of activity, a lot of buildings made over there, high rises, a lot of people shifted over there, but then the road was not there, or the metro was not there. So the same thing happens with export, that a lot of people think it's very rosy, the picture, they jump in, but they've not created the infrastructure, or they've not created the attitude. We've had a huge problem because we used to do a little bit of export and a huge amount of local. And then it was that we had one culture for export and one culture for local. And it was very difficult to run two cultures in one organization. So we decided to do only one quality, be it for export or for India. It was just one quality. And that's what worked for us. And we didn't differentiate if it was export or if it was local. Just the mode of packaging was different. The location of delivery was different. But the quality that we maintained was the same. Also, the culture of the organization was the same. So we answered our customers in the same way as we answer export customers. The commitments, the delivery commitments are the same. And I think it's very easy to jump into exports, but then by the time you've made all the mistakes, your client has shifted elsewhere, your learning curve has to be very quick. So it's better to learn first and then jump in, rather than learn at the client's expense. That was on the export front. Then about the Share to Benefit Forum, it was started about 7 years ago. We are 21 members in that forum, and it's a group which meets once a week, and we all discuss various issues related to print, and we come up with solutions. Trust is the pillar of this organization. It's not easy. It's not easy for competitors to sit on the same table. But I do see that very successful people usually are very good sharers, and they don't really mind sharing because they feel that they, I mean, it's not if they give you one of their secrets that they're going to get less business. So we meet every month for a couple of hours. We get various speakers on various topics. Either we are speakers or we get professional speakers from outside. And we also interact on the email and on WhatsApp on a daily basis. So for small issues, like if you've not got a particular paper, or your machine is down, you don't have the particular technician, or larger issues like if you've got a union problem and how a person went about solving it, or if there was a flood and there was a huge loss in one of the companies and how he had gone wrong with his insurance policy. So these kind of sharings will not really, you know, take away anything from your organization. They'll only help. And I want to share why and how this thing came about. I want to share the story about the farmer and the good corn. So there was this farmer in the US, and he used to grow the best corn. And every year he used to get the award for growing the best corn. And every year before the harvest season, he used to take his seeds and distribute it to all his neighbors. So they would also grow that same quality of corn. So some of the media guys came there and asked him that, why are you doing that? Why are you giving your best seed to your competitors? So he says that the insects which pollinate my plants come from my neighbors. So if my neighbors don't grow good corn, then eventually I won't be growing good corn. So that was the concept we started STB with, and I think it's growing very well, and we're sharing, and over a period of time the trust has grown. So now we also do audits wherein one company goes to the other company, spends the entire day, and he acts as an auditor for the other company. That guy allows him to see his entire facility, and also tell him that these are the areas which I feel you're going wrong, and these are the innovations that I have done and which you could also do. So it's a very noble initiative, but very difficult to replicate and to get those like-minded people. The BMPA is most willing to share how this is to be done, and we've been telling people around that we need many such STBs around the country and around the world, so that eventually there can be a common source which we can all dip into and get information from. So we're trying that, but currently it's only worked till Bombay.
Thank you. Actually, extremely inspiring. You know, when competitors allow each other to actually walk through and be auditors, there's nothing more spectacular than that. And so we got to ask ourselves a question. You know, why sometimes it's harder for us to collaborate within the same company. Definitely inspiring. How are we doing with time, Madhulika? 10 minutes. Okay. I want to ask Narendra about, you know, his company has been definitely, the fan is blowing my paper all over the place. Your company has been well known, extremely well known for really best practices, winning the awards, etc. You know, and there is a lot of question about ROI here. So obviously, you know, you made the investment in the best practices, the best technology, etc. What has been your experience with ROI? Is it a patient capital? Is it a patient approach? Or is it, you know, while you're getting relatively quick ROI, you are also aspiring for the longer term. How's this tightrope walk done? What can others learn from you?
Actually, what my friend here said about having something different, something better to offer to the market. So you're offering at a much better price. You're getting a much better price than the commodity price, and that's the key. And the point is, when will you dream about Aishwarya or Hrithik Roshan? Only when you know when they're there. So our point is, keep on innovating, show our Hrithik Roshans, our Aishwarya Rais to the designers, to the people around, so they start imagining those things, and we turn those dreams into reality. While he said that we are going to put on the shirt and go out, but today, believe me, whatever you buy the first time, you buy because of how it looks. What's inside sells, repeats. What's outside is what is selling. That is the key. The perception of the product comes from the packaging itself, how it looks. So today, believe me, most of you must have bought flats. What did you see there? You saw a flat piece of ground, but a nice brochure which is showing how beautiful how beautiful the swimming pool will be. So I think the perceptions have to be created, and the better perception I create, the better value I get, and that's where we succeeded in doing that. We have actually put so many technologies in. So at the end of the day, the client, when he gives 100 rupees for that book, he doesn't feel, 100 rupees ho gaya. No, he said, gaya to gaya, 100 rupees kya? So that I think is the key, and that's where we succeeded. And that's how our ROI and ROC have been much more faster, which allowed us to go back and redeploy the funds into the next technology and the next technology.
Before that, fine, can I just ask a quick follow-up for him? You mentioned innovation. What are you doing different? I mean, if you can say one or two keys about your innovation program, how are you driving that?
Constantly, once we are going into the exhibitions and looking at the net for the various results. For example, now our latest thing is that how do we print in 7 colors? There's a new software from Equinox. So we are able to get a much wider gamut. Strictly speaking, in 4 colors, there is a book called Pantone book. I don't know how many you know. There are a number of colors in that. We can maybe get 60%. But in 7 colors, I can get 95%. So that makes life a lot more easier. How do you do that? How do we make sure that the client is benefiting from that? How am I making sure that his package is so different that others cannot copy it? As you said, the competition will be there soon, but by then I have to go to the next level, then the next level. That's what has to be done.
Thank you. For him, you have a follow-up?
About innovation and Pragati. I'm talking about 8 years ago, 7 to 8 years ago in Bangalore itself. There's a perfume manufacturer which I came to ask for business. I'm talking to the packaging, the purchaser over there. And the premium jobs, they said that no, this is all Pragati. This you don't even need to quote for. And I said, why? Why can't I quote for this? So they said, no, when we get the material, we don't have to count it and we don't have to check it. It goes directly onto our lines. So innovation is not about only doing a very high quality job. It's about other things also. And I think Pragati has learned how to do things different before even others even have thought about it. So I think that that's a great thing. And
thank you. That's a very apt point. It's not only products and technology, it's also process, it's also how you do business, how you establish a relationship with your customers, whether are you a supplier, are you a partner, what does it mean to be somebody's partner? There are a lot of thought-provoking avenues, and innovation is not just lab coats and technology all the time. With that, I'm going to actually hand it over to the audience, and I know that we told people that eminent advisors such as you from the industry are coming, and we got a flood of questions. In fact, we got so many questions that I'm pretty sure we are not going to be able to cover even half of them here, but not to worry. If your question doesn't get covered in today's session, this relationship is not only about today and on the stage. It's a continuing, ongoing relationship, both face-to-face as well as using, other communication technology. So we'll make sure that we get, answers from them on some of the other questions. So the most important question is, who would like to go first? That's always a challenge. Who's moderating?
From this side,
Hari is back
I
there.
will
Okay.
coordinate. Anybody who has questions can raise hands. We'll start with you, Deepthi.
Hi, this is Siddharth here.
Okay.
This side. Yeah, can you? Yeah. Actually, we talked about imaging of things and all. Third step. So,
We can't hear you. Where are you? First of all,
I'm
raise your
here.
hand. Okay, we can't hear you. Can you speak up?
Is it fine now?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, my question was related to imaging of things, and we talked about it earlier as well. So the question goes like, how good the market is for interactive poster printing, in India, because interactive poster printing. I mean to say that, like we see, if we hover over an image, we see videos going on it. Things
Yeah,
like
understood.
that.
So you're asking, there are these interesting technologies that are coming up which are going to make display graphics or posters interactive to the customer, to the viewer, and you are asking what is the potential of that or what is the opportunity for that in the market. And feel free, anybody from the panelists, to jump in on this question.
I think this comes in more in my my industry domain. So I'll try and answer that question. See, today there was a time not so long ago when there was actually some fears about whether print is actually going to go down because of you had digital signage coming up. So you got your screens were becoming cheaper, your internet delivery was becoming more affordable, more reachable. So the whole question was that we're all investing a lot of money onto printing equipment, but is the print itself going to go down? So what has happened is that is digital has, you could say, enlarged the pie, has increased the thing. Some amount of print has been eaten up on that. And you're right, the only way that you can do it, a static poster is, is an endangered species, if you look at it that way. A static poster isn't going to really do much to generate any interest at the point of sale. Now, when we talk about posters, we're talking point of sale. So that's where, you've already seen the ad, you have browsed on it in the internet, you've done all your shopping, you've done a lot of things, you've been hit by billboards, the magazines and everything, and finally you are ready to actually go and buy that product. But when you actually go into the store, and that's the time when any signage has to be the best of the best, is at the point of sale, because you're looking at it from less than a foot sometimes. So your resolution has to be extremely good. It's got to be vibrant if it is static. And obviously with so much of POS around, if there is any animation or anything that will actually flash a color, reflect something, say something, play a jingle, it's going to grab your attention. So is that possible? Yes, it is possible today. Is it happening? It's happening, but finally at the end of it, the cost on that is the key to the whole thing also. So we're finding that in terms of a poster which is animated or something, the print portion isn't getting much of that business. It's going down. It's being replaced by that little LCD screen, which can talk, it can flash, it can move, it can display, it can be static, it can do. So, and those costs, except for the one-time capital cost of putting it in, the rest of the costs are so low that in terms of print, we are not seeing at a print level animated or value-added posters growing to that extent.
Gautam would like to add to that.
I think one of your questions was about, augmented reality,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, I think while we have seen a lot of efforts in newspapers, magazines, even in packaging, I think it's yet to take off, but I do believe there's a lot of potential, and we have actually applied it in many applications. I think it's got a lot of benefit because then you can do a lot of analytics on the back end and provide a lot of useful information to the advertiser or whoever is doing that content. But it's really not had mass adoption anywhere in the world that I've seen. But a lot of trials in a lot of places. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Prabhuda, just
Okay, just one line. Say, I'm talking about interactiveness. So it's not only on posters. It could be other things like this. For example, labels. A label could tell you whether the cold chain has been broken. Say, suppose your ice cream, whether it cold chain or not, you will know about it. About your cut of meat, whether it has been through. It has been less than 4 degrees centigrade or not. You can know it. There are packs in which this is. The oxygen has been evacuated, so they're vacuum packed or they are carbon dioxide flushed, nitrogen flushed. You know that whether the oxygen has leaked into it. So these are examples of intelligent labels when they communicate to the customer that whether the exact pack which you are buying has kept the promise which is there on the label.
thank you. Actually, before I take the next question from audience, can you guys hear me? Okay. Before I take the next question from the audience, I have a follow-up question for Gautam. You were saying something this morning before the meeting. You were talking about there is this innovation program that you have in Manipal Institute, and you are actually doing work on the conductive ink and the printed circuitry. Some people here in the audience are big believers and have been pushing us to kind of jump into that. Can you comment on what you guys doing? Where are you at? And we'll explore this afternoon how we can work together on some of it.
We were looking at a couple of years back how we could use some of the skills and competence that we had to create new businesses, and we felt we had a reasonable understanding of printing technology and electronics in the R&D team. And by adding chemical engineering, we looked at functional printing. So instead of printing graphics, whether we can print functionalities, right? So we started working on a couple of areas. The first was on printed RFID to print memory. And we have been quite successful. We have set up a team in IIT Kanpur where we have put our engineers. The college has a lot of infrastructure funded by the government, so it doesn't make us, invest in the capex. And then the professors also work with them. And we have progressed in being able to print low memory, and we're working on actually getting the memory higher and it more stable. And in the process also you end up printing sensors and all which can be used in packaging. The other area we have worked on is printing photovoltaic cells on flexible substrates. We have been doing it at a lab scale. We've been at about 4% efficiency with a life of 10 years. We need to be at about 10% with about 10 years life to be really competitive for mass commercialization. And we think there's a lot of potential in building integrated photovoltaics and things like that on that side. We also done a lot of projects like printed speakers. It's more for experimentation, printed speakers, printed displays to apply in packaging at low cost. And a lot of it has been about developing the core materials apart from the printing processes to get low cost materials to develop them. So that's the program.
That's really amazing. And I know Sunil there is grinning from ear to ear. He's really excited to hear all this, and I'm sure he's going to be all over you during the lunch or something.
Looking for good talent for that program. So.
With that, The next question.
Hi, I'm Deepthi. The question which I'm going to ask, I think so partially it has been covered by Mr. Das Gupta. In recent years, Indian packaging industry has observed significant mergers. For example, PPL taken over by Huhtamaki or investment in interlabels. So looking at this trend, is it creating a threat to small packaging and printers, or it's an opportunity?
A interesting question, because as I said that there are two things. First is the industry is growing and the local industry hasn't been very efficient in the sense that in terms of ROI and in terms of generation of wealth for future expansion. So it's quite normal that from Europe, where the growth has been less, they are moving in and taking on these. Now, for the small, I feel personally, I had worked in a small flexible industry. I have worked in a large flexible industry. That is a scope for everybody to survive. And India typically will continue to have a large number of small printers who will do things efficiently in a way, and they will serve the bottom of the pyramid. We will also have people coming in the top of the pyramid, and as you see in the recent one, Amcor has moved in. You have seen Constantia has moved in. You have seen Huhtamaki taken over paper products. Paper products has taken over Positive. So mergers and acquisitions will go on the way it has been in West. In West, if you have noticed, now around 40% of the packaging industries are owned by private equity players. So the thing entirely, it indicates that if we don't, do work together, there will be a demand, there will be an expansion, but because of the lack of structuring, management practices and technology, perhaps a part of the large industry, international industry is going to move into India.
Thank you. Next one. Yeah, back there.
Good afternoon. My question is, with the advent of lot of e-books, has the printing market suffered, and what is the future ahead?
This is with respect to books. Narendra, would you like to take that?
The white paper says that the number of people who have bought e-books, a lot of them bought actually the books also. So this is the books also. So this is what it says. Definitely some of the titles will never be printed because it would never have been a book without the e-book facility. But bestsellers, they find that while the e-books are selling, nearly 70-80% of them are returning and buying the actual book also. Number two, especially as far as some of the textbooks are concerned, while some are available on the e-book, again the white paper says what you read on the net, on the screen. They say that what you read on the screen, I mean, it's not being retained as much as what you read on the paper. Anyway, I am the paper guy, so I'm biased towards that. So I tend to believe that. So this is what it is. But we sincerely think, yes, e-book facility when it's there, not all will be printed again as this one. We will lose a part of the market to that, and I think that's the way it's going to be.
Fahim, can you add to that?
Again, this is my opinion. I feel that we as a generation tried e-books and thought that we liked the smell of paper and ink and went back to, and this is not only India, globally. So this is a temporary phase, because if you look at our today's new generation, and I'm talking about my daughter, she handles the iPad and the iPhone better than I do, and she's only 5. So the generation which is between 30 and 60 today will try e-books and want to go back to the smell of ink and paper. But we'll be fooling ourselves if we think that e-books are not going to be a threat to paper books, because the new generation will want animation, they will want images moving, they will want to search at the button, they will want to archive, they will want to have 500 books in one device. So for the moment, I think we're safe, but the time will come and the switch will be very, very... I'm not saying books will disappear completely, printed books, but today if you're feeling happy, paper books coming back and also people buying paper books, let's not be too complacent.
Speaking on books, I actually have a follow-up question. Now, it's been more than 10 years that, or actually close to 15, that the whole discussion around print on demand and printing books on demand, etc., started coming out. Technology is definitely there. Sure, if you look at purely the cost of printing, digital is more expensive, but if you actually look at the entire value chain cost, i.e. you don't have to create inventory, you don't have to have inventory carrying cost, you don't have stocking cost, you don't have transportation and logistic cost, you don't need huge retail bookstores to stock all those books and 5 guys to dust them every day, etc., etc. Then overall, if you compare the value chain cost of print on demand versus classic publication in bulk, you know, the cost should not be a big issue. So what is it that's preventing this industry from taking off, in your opinion?
I sincerely think I'm talking about technology for the next 5-10 years, not for the 20 years. Maybe it will change a lot. The first run will always be in the offset printing system, where the number of copies will be printed. But then when it becomes a bestseller, or later after 5 years, 6 years, 3 years, when you want 1 book, 2 books, 10 books, that's when print on demand will come. The first time it will never. So strictly speaking, as of now, while people might say digital is the way or offset is the way or this is the way, as of now, both will coexist and both will run together. That's how it would be. Today, your inkjet, as has been very well said, it can be print on anything. But again, as they said, the speed of the inkjet is not as much as this one. So if I want to make this package, can I do it on inkjet? Answer is yes. Can I do it economically? Answer is no. So that's where the thing comes. Both will coexist. And I think print on demand is here to stay. And when I want a couple of books, 3 books, 4 books, what you said is absolutely true. And that's how it's going to be.
Thank you. Next question from the audience. Sorry?
My question is, when would the experts think that the Indian printing industry would transform from cost or the price approach to their end customers to the solution approach? I'm asking this because probably 14 and a half years before, when I started my career, there was a hope, but I think this hope is still there.
He's asking when do we move from value conscious, value industry or cost industry to the solution oriented?
Yeah, from the price approach to the solution approach to the end customers.
I assume that you're asking when the industry will start to think like that?
Yes, basically all the printers, today what I feel is like, the first approach to the end customer is always on the price, not on the product, what they want.
I think it is from company to company, and I think that happens in every country. Like if you look at Pragati, it's always again a solution approach, like you was mentioning before. They're always thinking about what they can do for customers and how they can make their business better, and then the innovation they do is on behind that, right? So I think it depends from company to company. There are, I think, many companies in India which thinks from a solution perspective, and I don't think there'll be ever a point when everyone is like that, right? And same way, I think you go to any country, you'll find commodity players who just work on their cost side and compete on price, and you'll find very innovative companies, always thinking on solutions. And it's for across geography. So I think India is I think India is not very different at all. You will find mass of them commodity players on price, but you'll always find those innovative companies thinking of solutions.
I'd like to add to that also. I think to a great extent, it's also the type of product. You know, there could be the same company, and depending on what you're producing, if that's a stock item, and you're just producing it in bulk, it's going to be cost driven. You know, because it's already an existing product, and it needs something where you need to keep churning it out. You just sort of turn it out quicker, faster, more efficiently. But when you're talking about value and bringing in some additional value, then it's a customized, made for purpose product. When it is made for purpose, then obviously cost is second. It is always value, and that comes first. I can talk about it in our industry itself, where we do a lot of things. Most of what we do is specific, made for purpose. So the moment we have, the moment there is a bid, a reverse auction bid, we don't even attempt it, because we are not going to be the cheapest. We tell everybody, all our customers, if you're looking for L1, we might as well back out, because we don't believe that our cost of our product is rupees XXX. It is total cost of ownership of that product. We say, what is the cost of failure? What is the cost of a brand color being wrong? What is the cost of a recall? You have to put all that to arrive at a real cost. So that's what we do, and we discourage this whole thing of we do not go on price. It is purely on value. And that's why our customers are also limited. It's only those who see that value in us, and another person might think they're paying us a higher price. They're not paying a higher price. In the long run, they are actually benefiting. They're getting better value. Thank you.
Thank you, DJ. We can take probably 2 more questions. Sunil, you have a question? Can somebody mic Sunil here in the front? And next question also be ready, please.
Okay, so obviously I have some questions about printed electronics, but I'll ask that question later. So we actually talked about a bunch of issues related to infrastructure, right? You know, and our dependency on government to solve that and all of that. So question is, are we in print industry using technology enough to, you know, for example, to increase predictability or tracking shipment, or, you know, to produce just-in-time production capabilities? So are we actually using software or technology in the industry to solve some of those challenges? Obviously, not all of them can be solved without building physical infrastructure, but how about technology?
In our company, we use SAP MIS. So in our system, when a customer is giving us a job, he can track the job in the system, where it is, whether it's in the processing, printing, or binding, or finishing. And at that time, at the end, when he shipped out, it's been given a number on the courier, and the tracking, then onwards, it goes on to the courier mode, not from ours. So the tracking is an option now.
I think we Indians are a nation of problem solvers. So we're excellent at solving problems. When we shift to the next level, which is preempting the problem and giving the solution before the problem happens, that's when this will come in. So to answer your question, it's not being used widely in the industry. There's a huge need for it. But we love to solve problems. We're waiting for a problem to happen. जैसा होएगा हम लोग उसको solve करेंगे. But we have to move to the next step, which is give the client something which is that problem doesn't occur only. It's a very important, valid point, but to tell you very frankly, it's not being happening on mass scale.
I wanted to add to both what they said. I think it's not being used enough. I think as businesses grow, more analytics can be used to make things better. But I think there are some physical challenges which just cannot be solved by analytics or software, right? I'm really talking about if it takes, 5 days to ship something from one part of India, where it should take 1 day, right? Or it should cost 10 rupees, where it's costing 100 rupees. because of the roads. And so those are things which you cannot change. Or for example, when someone is telling you something is shipped when it's actually not even produced from the vendor side. Those are cultural changes, challenges which are there. So I think there are some things which software can improve, but there are some physical infrastructure problems which need to be addressed. So.
Thank you.
Gilad, do you have something to add?
Just had a quick addition to that. I think very, very valid question. And a lot of the inefficiencies we have and a lot of costs that are being added on is because we are not using technology to its optimum. We are in anything that we do, and forget in our personal life. I mean, we'll buy a smartphone with a million features. We're using basically 20 out of them. We buy a laptop, we're using 5% of its capacity. We're buying a software. So I think, it's just that we leapfrog so fast from nothing to everything that we are still kind of grappling with it. I find that the West has the most straight line approach to anything. When they decide on anything, they create a kind of a workflow which is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's done. We will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll hit 20 to get to the same thing. And even then, so I'm saying these are some of our failures. These are some of the areas where we all have to, and we're all guilty of it. Everybody, we have to be conscious of it. We have got to remember this, and we have to do this. We have to be able to use what we have more efficiently. We are not using what we have more efficiently at the moment.
So I wanted to add with some of the honesties on us, the technology provider. So while we provide, maybe it's not used completely, but we provide very good system to track and report, or even record, track, and report. We are still to deliver the system that do automation and optimization. So there is still a gap in the technology in putting a smart system in the manufacturing environment that will automatically create the best path. We will not need to count 1, 2, 3, 4. The system will do it for us. I think there is still a large gap in our offering to provide this service.
Gautam, you made an interesting comment. We might have a solution for detecting lies when somebody says it's on the way, but it's not even manufactured. So we'll be sharing some exciting technologies with you in the afternoon, but not being facetious about it. But yes, I mean, these are the interesting kind of challenges on the lighter vein. One last question from the audience before I ask Rajiv.
Hello. Yeah, hi, I'm Anthony here. I had been with Manipal Technologies, so the question I'm asking is to Mr. Gautam. In fact, print on demand, the first franchise was started by you by the term DigiGo. Can you share with us the challenges and the strategy that you faced, and whether the Indian market is ready for such a setup, whether it's mature enough?
Yeah, I think DigiGo, when we set up, the idea was to have small digital hubs across the country with franchise or owned centers connected digitally, which could do short run. I think the challenge was we found it was not scalable, meaning it took a lot of effort to handle walk-in retail customers. You needed to have that many people in the store to service that many customers, right? And for us, unless that business was going to reach a certain size in 4 or 5 years, it didn't make sense to put the amount of energy and management time in it. And that's why actually we converted DigiGo more into an integrated part of commercial and other offering, where it was servicing the normal corporate client just as a integrated offering, whether it was seamless, whether they wanted to print on offset or digital, it was just determined by the quantity and logistics and things like that. So that's how we transformed it. I think it's a very workable business model. It was profitable. It scaled up to a reasonable size within 2 years. It was just not that, it was just didn't fit our priorities scale standpoint. So.
Thank you. I know we can continue with the questions for hours at a time, and definitely we'll seek further future opportunities to do that. At this time, I would like to call Rajiv onto the stage to give a vote of thanks.
Hi. I know I'm standing between you and the lunch, so I'd like to keep it short. It gives me immense pleasure to propose a vote of thanks for what has been a very interesting, interactive, and informative session for all of us. First and foremost, I would like to place on record our deep sense of gratitude and appreciation to the members of the EFI Advisory Council for having very graciously consented to be members of the Advisory Council and enthusiastically participating in the panel discussion despite their very busy schedule. So thank you very much. I would also like to thank the members of the EFI team for actively participating in this one-of-a-kind event. I do believe that all of us have benefited tremendously from these discussions today. A special word of thanks to all the members of various teams who have worked tirelessly to make this event a grand success. All of this was on top of your day job, and you have done a fabulous job. Thank you. As Sam mentioned earlier during the conversation, this is a journey, and we have just embarked on this journey. There is a long way ahead, and I'm sure we will go through the journey and benefit through that. We would like to have this event on a quarterly basis so that we continue on a path of collaboration and exchange of ideas for the mutual benefit of all the parties here. Now, as a token of appreciation, we would like to present mementos to the member of the Advisory Council. And before we do that, a special word about the memento. We wanted to present something different from what is traditionally given as a memento, which is not very commercial. That's the challenge that Sam threw to the team, and we were just wondering about what can we do which is typical EFI, not something that we just go buy off the shelf from shop. And that's where we came up with this idea of a memento, which is something printed on a ceramic tile. These mementos have been prepared in our facilities in Spain and have been prepared using EFI technology for printing on ceramic tiles. So I want to share a word about it. Okay, may I request now Gilad to kindly present this memento to the members of the panel. Mr. Bangara. Mr. Fahim. Mr. Gautam. Mr. Narendra. Mr. Prabhuda. Thank you. Thank you very much. A big word of thanks again for this very, very interesting event that we started today. Oh, Gilad is waiting for his memento. Well, Gilad, we have kept that for a very special occasion. We'll do it some other time. Thank you. You are our in-house member of the Advisory Council. Okay. So we will, with this, we bring to a formal end to this panel discussion and this part of the session. And from here, we'll break for lunch. For our team members, the lunch has been organized just beside this area. So I would request all of you to proceed there. For team members who are having lunch with the Advisory Council, the lunch has been arranged separately just across this small bridge. So may I request all of you to be there for the lunch. Thank you all. Thank you very much.